Praise Yah for my trumpet lessons. Hallelujah. When I was younger, I wanted to learn to play the trumpet. And so the first thing they showed me was your lips must be a certain way. And when you are, if you get your lips right, hallelujah, your tune should be in tune. That doesn't always happen because it's not like I was a very good trumpeter. Hallelujah. When I was a child, I thought as a child, I acted as a child, and I behaved as a child. When I became mature, hallelujah, when I became mature, I started acting different. I changed up my the way I respond. I'm in a good mood. I just had a nice little rest. I took a nap, woke up, and I was like, "Oh no, it's time to go." But I'm excited that we just did. I had a beautiful rest day, Yom Teruah. We blew the trumpets the night before. We had our feast gathering or in gathering, and then we rested. And since it was the superior Shabbat, I gave it a good rest. Hallelujah. I had people texting me and people inquiring, are you guys going live today? Yesterday. And I said, no, I'm going to rest today. I'll be back tomorrow, but I'm resting today. And I felt convicted. I was like, I should have did something. And I thought, you know what? Even you, elder, need to learn to rest. And so I walked in rest. I had my grandson over, and him and I played. He played, and I got tired. I went to bed, and next thing you know, he came up there, and he laid down next to me, and we rested together. I woke up, and he was gone. I didn't even know that his son came and got his dad came and got him. He had a little toy bed truck that was on my back, and I felt it. I thought it was him. And so I felt back there, felt something, and I never turned over. And I said, well, let him rest too. I woke up and found out that he was gone. I was so disappointed. My little guy was gone. Hallelujah. But we did have a good day of resting. And I checked out everything, and I said, we did all but one thing. We didn't present a gift to y'all, but that's okay. We did everything else. We blew the shofar. We had a teaching, and we lit our menorah, and we just had a rejoiced in Yah. And I told everybody, this is private time. This is a private relationship with Yah. There's a time that we can regroup and resuscitate. A time to re-energize. And today, I had a notion, and I want to still talk about that blowing of the shofar. But in blowing the shofar, I started doing some contemplating. And I thought, we have, it seems like the whole world attacking us. It seems like now that Hasatan has pushed it up a notch and caused it to be a little bit more fire under our feet. You feel these light afflictions not feeling so light anymore. They're starting to feel like a little heavy, a little more of a burden than we had last week, because they're trying to push it up a notch. And you know what? This is just like Pharaoh before the release of our people. What do? Take away everything that made it easy for them and make it even tougher for them. Let's see how well they do pushing these stones without straw. Let's see how well they do if we notch it up a little bit and make it a little tougher on them. And the Hebrews didn't say, "Oh, I give up." We don't give up that easily. Yeah, we may have felt a little bit more sweat. And yeah, it may have been a little bit more anxiety, but we were able to force forward. I heard Dr. King, a quote from him, say, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. And I'll quote him all the time, but that was one of his speeches that he had. And we need to keep moving forward. In our walk, there's been people that have that we can look at, and they benefited Israel. And then there's people that refuse to accept Israel. Don't walk past me, don't talk to me, leave me alone. You're not the people. So we're today in our talk, in our lesson today, we're going to look at both sides of the coin. Because there's people that are I can say friends with us. And even then, I'm kind of cautious. I'm cautious because sometimes your friends, some people call themselves your friends. Gotta be careful. And as I get ready to, let me slow down for a minute. Welcome to the Ark of the Covenant Assembly. For those of you who have just come on board or maybe just passing through and you saw this thing with this Elder Yechezk'el's name show up or the Ark show up and you're like, oh, what is that? Who are they? And you just want to pay attention for a minute and see what we got going on. Welcome. We're grateful that you have thought it a good opportunity just to be with us. We're to start out with reading Telahim Psalms 69. And when I say start, of course, we have to start with open word of prayer. Abba Father, we are grateful for this yet another day's journey, a day that we start walking in our feast days and celebrating the days that you've given to us, blowing the shofar, fasting, coming together in opening your word and doing the things that are Kodesh and set apart for us to do, Yah. We're so grateful that you've illuminated us, given us a better view of what the calamities around us, what they mean and what they are about, and the glory that's set before us. Let us endure the light afflictions, knowing that you are the author and the finisher of our faith. We stand before you as vessels. May you wash us, purify us by your word, by your ruach. Lead, guide, and direct us, Yah, that we will do the things that bring honor and glory to you. We magnify you, we glorify you, and we exalt you, Yah, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Yes, I call on Yeshua HaMashiach, the King that you have given to us to as an example, Yah, the one who helped to rectify, set us, and shed his blood for us, Yah. We're grateful for your son, Yeshua, and we are grateful for this moment. May your Ruach rest in us. Come by, Yah. The whole song we used to sing we call it a Hebrew spiritual. Come by, Yah. Oh, Yah, come by here, Yah. Come by here. Join with us and unify us. Join us and help us to become a cod with you and with each other. In Yeshua HaMashiach's name we pray. Amen. Take me. Hallelujah. 69. Let's open up my shofar. My sefer. Benjamin, can I hear you speak?
Did you say 69 or 61?
69.
Okay.
You sound good. Verse what? Start at verse 1.
Okay.
Oh, no static. Everything, isn't that crazy how everything is working today? Everything is like working like crazy. The other day we couldn't get this out. All right, let's read.
Psalms chapter 69, verse 1. Save me, O Yah, for the waters have come up to my neck. I sink in deep mere, where there is no standing. I have come into deep waters where the floods overflow me. I am weary with my crying, my throat is dry. My eyes fail while I wait for my Elohim. Those who hate me without a cause are more than the hairs of my head. They are mighty who would destroy me, being my enemies wrongfully. Though I have stolen nothing, I still must restore it. Oh yeah, you know my foolishness, and my sins are not hidden from you. Let those who wait for you, O Yah of hosts, be ashamed because of me. Let not who seek you be confounded because of me, O Elohim of Israel. Because for your sake I have borne reproach. Shame has covered my face. I have become a stranger to my brothers, an alien to my mother's child, or my mother's children. Because zeal for your house has eaten me up, and the reproaches of those who reproach you have fallen on me. When I wept and chastened my soul with fasting, that became my reproach. I also made sackcloth my garment. I became a byword to them. Those who sit in the gate speak against me, but I am a song of drunkards.
So hold up there. We're just stopping at verse 12. So if you read this and just contemplate your life right now, a lot of us have found ourselves in the same situation. It's like the floods are overflowing me. I have no idea. I'm running. My throat is dry. My eyes are not even. I can't even cry anymore. I am at wit's end. There's more enemies than the hairs on my head. Seems like everybody's against me, and even my family has kind of forsaken me. My own mother's kids, my brothers, my sisters, they act like I'm the alien. They act like I'm the crazy one. They act like I'm the Looney Tune. I haven't stolen, and yet they're chasing me like a thief. All these things is like right in my face. I got to deal with this every day. Wow. But as for me, verse 13.
Psalms chapter 69, verse 13. But as for me, my prayer is to you. O Yah, in the acceptable time. O Yah, in the multitude of your mercy. Hear me in the truth of your salvation. Deliver me out of the mere, and let me not sink. Let me be delivered from those who hate me, and out of the deep waters. Let not the floodwater overflow me, nor let the deep swallow me up. And let not the pit shut its mouth on me. Hear me, O Yah, for your loving kindness is good. Turn to me according to the multitude of your tender mercies, and do not hide your face from your servant. For I am in trouble. Hear me speedily. Draw near to my soul and redeem it. Deliver me because of my enemies. You know my reproach, my shame, and my dishonor. My adversaries are all before you. Reproach has broken my heart. I am full of heaviness. I looked for someone to take pity, but there was none, and for comforters, but I have found none. They also give me gall for my food, and for my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink. Let the table become a snare before them, and the well being a trap. Let their eyes be darkened so they cannot see, and let their loins shake continually. Pour out your indignation upon them, and let your wrathful anger take hold of them. Let your dwelling place be desolate, and let no one live in their tents. For they persecute the ones struck, and talk of the grief of those you have wounded, and add iniquity to their iniquity, and let them not come into your righteousness. Let them be blotted out of the book of living, and not written with the righteous. But I am poor and sorrowful. Let your salvation, O Yah, set me up high. I will praise the name of Yah with a song, and he will magnify him with thanksgiving. This also shall please Yah better. This also shall please Elohim better than an ox or a bull, which has horns and hooves. The humble shall see this and be glad. And you who seek Elohim, your heart shall live. For Yah hears the poor and does not despise his prisoners. Let heaven and earth praise him, the seas and everything that moves in them. For Yah will save Zion and build the cities of Judah, that they may dwell there and possess it. Also the descendants of his servants shall inherit it, and those who love his name shall dwell in it.
So there you go. So we end up with a joyful song. We should be singing praises. And last week we talked about, 2 days ago, we talked about the glory of Yisra'el, and we will see Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem, and the new earth, and the new heaven, and everything manifesting itself for those that love him. And our names are written in the Sefer. Our names are not in the Sefer. Our names are removed, but he says, blot out those that fear not you, that have no reverence for you or care for you, or that attack your people. So the way this psalm is written, it's a clear identification of those that are the enemy, because the enemy is not just those that say, I hate God. The enemy are the ones that say, I hate you because you represent God or Yah. So when they reject you, just like he told Shaul, when they reject you, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting me, the one that sent you. So the Feast of Trumpets, the enemies, and the friends outside of Yisrael. I'm going to spend just a few minutes and we're just going to read a little glimpse here and there, And let's see if we can. There's 2 verses, 2 books, and they coincide with each other in this storyline. And so let's see if we can get through it and get a maybe a better glimpse of this. And it all comes back to the trumpets, because the last trump is going to sound, and the dead in Christ the dead in the Messiah shall rise first, it says in 1 Thessalonians. Okay, so this trump, let's talk about this. Let's go to Jasher. Jasher, verse 88, chapter 88. So when you're in our presence, you need to have more than just a Bible. You need to have the Apocrypha, because at any given moment I may pull it out. And this is one. Jasher, chapter 88. You got it, hon? Mm-hmm. All right, let's read.
And it was after the death of Moshe that Yahuwah said to Joshua the son of Nun, saying, rise up and pass the Jordan to the land which I have given to the children of Yasharel, and you shall make the children of Yasharel inherit the land.
Okay, so we know what happened with Moshe, right? We know Moshe got angry, and I didn't go there, but he got angry with the people. He got angry because they if you read the text, they were thirsty and they couldn't find water. And they cried out to Moshe, like, we're thirsty and we can't find any water. And they started complaining. That test was literally a test from Yah to see how they would react. So some of the tests that are given to us are not a bad thing because the test was given to us. The test is like, will you pass or fail? How will you respond? Will you do what the heathen's telling you to do because you're scared, or will you hold out a little bit longer? Will you do what Yah's telling you, looking at you and examining you to see how you will respond to whatever is coming your way? Well, he allowed this to happen. And then Moshe and Aaron, they come back and they're like, okay, y'all told us to smite the rock. And he hit the rock and out come water. But the only problem was he failed in his reaction. He smoked the rock twice, and he smoked it out of anger because he was angry with the people. So my job is to present truth. I sometimes see some things happening, but I can't get angry with you because then I'm moving out of something different than what Yah has asked me to do. And all of us we sometimes see things, we're like, this person keep running into the same brick wall over and over again. And when they laying out on the ground because their head's bleeding and they say, help, we gotta help. And sometimes you're like, no, you dummy, you keep running into the same brick wall. Well, then you end up being out of sequence with Yah, because he's told us, especially those that are within their camp, to love each other. And sometimes we have to overlook their, I don't want to say stupid actions, but in their attitudes, and just to help them along. But Moshe didn't. So Yah did what Yah does. He's like, okay, so you won't get into the promised land Even though you've been leading these people for all these years, because you started walking in the flesh and not in the faith. So even Moshe couldn't make it in to get in. He could see it. He said, look, go climb up there. You can see it. There it is. The land flowing with milk and honey, but you're not going in. Neither you are now. Watch what happens, because we're going to start talking about the people.
Every place upon which the sole of your feet shall tread shall belong to you. From the wilderness of Lebanon unto the great river, the river of Paraph, shall be your boundary. No man shall stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moshe, so will I be with you. Only be strong and of good courage to observe all the Torah which Moshe commanded you. Turn not from the way either to the right or to the left, in order that you may prosper in all that you do.
So the words given are words that we need to be cautious with. He said, don't be weak and fearful. He said, be strong and then of a good courage. Everybody knows that I love the Wizard of Oz, right? Because there was the lion, and the lion was the Lion of Judah. There was the lion, and the lion had no courage. He was like, first of all, what's he doing traveling with Woody and the Scarecrow? But second of all, he had no courage. We are to be strong and courageous. And if we walk in the Torah, then that should increase our faith. And as our faith is increased, so is our courageous personality, our persuasion. If you're courageous, you walk in I don't know if you've seen this before, but if you haven't, look it up. Evander Holyfield stepped in the ring fighting someone who most people, when they stepped in the ring, they peed themselves, or you can see that they were scared. He stepped in the ring with the most fierce person in the entire world, weighing in less than he weighed. He wasn't as big as him. And he knew that this man, if he hit him, he was going to wake him up. And he was like, okay, I'm ready. And he stepped in the ring and he whipped the most courageous person of all that stepped in the ring for a long, long time, Mike Tyson. He waited for it. He let him hit him. Come on, give me your best shot. Because that's what stirred up his ruach. So you're to walk in the ring. You're in the ring of life courageously and strong and courageous. And then Yah says, I will be with you. I will start making things happen that other people can't even figure it out. If we can just get a handful of us to stand strong, to stand courageously, so when the enemy strikes, we will have the fortitude and the ability to fight back. And we fight back different than most other people. We don't have to hit back with a fist. Yah is going to fight our battle. All right, let's go. Be strong and in order that you may prosper in whatever, in all that you do. Verse 5.
And Yahusha commanded the officers of Yasharel, saying, pass through the camp and command the people, saying, prepare for yourselves provisions, for in 3 days more you will pass the Jordan to possess the land. And the officers of the children of Yasharel did so, and they commanded the people, and they did all that Yahusha had commanded.
This is where we are. Okay, I want you to put this in your mind, because a lot of us have been keeping Shabbat. A lot of us have been not changing our diet plan, dietary restrictions. A lot of us have been doing some of us have even packed up bug out bags. We've been doing a lot of things to keep the commandments. We've been doing a lot of introspection and looking at where we are. It's like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this because I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm prepared. All right, come, please.
And Yahusha sent 2 men to spy out the land of Jericho, and the men went and spied out Jericho. And at the end of 7 days, they came to Yahusha in the camp and said to him, Yahuwah has delivered the whole land into our hand, and the inhabitants thereof are melted with fear because of us. And it came to pass after that Yahusha rose up in the morning, and all Yasharel with him. And they journeyed from Shittim, and Yahusha and all Yasharel with him passed the Jordan. And Yahusha was 82 years old when he passed the Jordan with Yasharel. And the people went up from the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month, and they encamped in Gilgal at the eastern corner of Jericho. And the children of Yasharel kept the Pesach in Gilgal, in the plains of Jericho, on the 14th day at the month, as it is written in the Torah of Moshe. And the manna ceased at that time on the morrow of the Pesach. And there was no more manna for the children of Yasharel, and they ate of the produce of the land of Canaan.
Okay, so at this given moment, manna was turned off. No more manna. You know they're getting up and having manna every day. What are you doing? I'm going to go get manna. And they would eat the manna, and on Friday they got double portion. And they've already learned by now to make sure we get the right amount, because if we get too much, we know what's going to happen. It's going to spoil. It's going to smell rotten. And we've already gone through that. And most of us that have experienced it, we saw that it was not a good experience. And so now you're pretty much groomed into eating your manna every day. And then Yah says, come over to Jordan, to the land flowing with milk and honey. And at that point, there's no need for manna anymore. And you have everything. And then the produce of the land, I'm going to get there real quick. The produce of the land was not cows and a lot of other things. Mostly was our people were more like, most likely our people were more vegetarian, because we've been traveling eating bread. We've been traveling where we couldn't afford to bring cows with us. Okay, so let's see where we go. And then,
verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And Jericho was entirely closed against the children of Yasharel. No one came out or went in. And it was in the 2nd month, on the 1st day of the month, that Yahuwah said to Yahusha, rise up, behold, I have given Jericho into your hand with all the people thereof. And all your fighting men shall go round the city once each day. Thus shall you do for 6 days. And the priests shall blow upon shofars, and when you shall hear the sound of the shofar, all the people shall give a great shouting, that the walls of the city shall fall down. All the people shall go up, every man against his opponent. So Yahusha did so according to all that Yahuwah had commanded him. And on the 7th day they went round the city 7 times, and the priests blew upon shofars. And at the 7th round, Yahusha said to the people, shout, for Yahuwah has delivered the whole city into our hands. Only the city and all that it contains shall be accursed, to Yahuwah, and guard yourselves from the accursed thing, lest you make the camp of Yasharel accursed and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and brass and iron shall be consecrated to Yahuwah. They shall come into the treasury of Yahuwah. And the people blew upon shofars and made a great shouting, and the walls of Jericho fell down, and all the people went up, every man straight before him. And they took the city and utterly destroyed all that was in it, with man and woman, young and old, ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. And they burned the whole city with fire. Only the vessels of silver and gold and brass and iron they put into the treasury of Yahuwah. And Yahusha swore at that time, saying, Cursed be the man who builds Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in his son shall he set up the gates thereof. And Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerach, son of Yehuda, dealt treacherously in the accursed thing, and he took of the accursed thing and hid it in the tent. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Yasharel. And it was after this, when the children of Yasharel had returned from burning Jericho, Yahusha sent men to spy out also Ai and to fight against it. And the men went up and spied out Ai, and they returned and said, Let not all the people go up with you to Ai. Only let about 3,000 men go up and smite the city, for the men thereof are but few. And Yahusha did so, and there went up with him of the children of Yasharel about 3,000 men, and they fought against the men of Ai. And the battle was severe against Yasharel, and the men of Ai smote 36 men of Yasharel, and the children of Yasharel fled from before the men of Ai. And when Yahusha saw this thing, he tore his garments and fell upon his face to the ground before Yahuwah, he with the elders of Yasharel, and they put dust upon their heads. And Yahusha said, Why, O Yahuwah, did you bring this people over the Jordan? What shall I say after Yasharel has turned their backs against their enemies? Now, therefore, all the Canaanites, inhabitants of the land, will hear this thing and surround us and cut off our name. And Yahuwah said to Yahusha, Why do you fall upon your face? Rise, get you off, for Yasharel has sinned and taken the accursed thing. I will no more be with them unless they destroy the accursed thing from amongst them.
Okay, so where's the accursed thing? You just read that earlier. What happened? Verse 25.
They took of the things that he told them not to take, right?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 25.
24.
Yeah. Achan, the son of Carmi, dealt treacherously in the accursed thing, and he took of the accursed thing and hid it in the tent. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Yasharel.
Go back to 23.
And Yahusha swore at that time, saying, Cursed be the man who builds Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates thereof.
Go ahead. And then 23, 4.
And Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerach, son of Yehuda, dealt treacherously in the accursed thing, and he took of the accursed thing and hid it in a tent. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Yasharel.
The son of who?
Carmi.
Right, the son of Carmi, the son of Yehuda. So the enemy sometimes is inside the camp. So here's somebody that's right in there on the inside who decides, we got to keep some of this. And he brought it inside the camp. He hid it in his tent. And it angered Yahweh. So you're thou shalt not steal. Even Yah said, I'm going to tell you when it's yours and when it's not. He said the land is yours, not all the stuff inside. He says destroy everything, and then we come in and we decide, well, maybe I should keep that. After all, it does look good. And so he kept that in the house. And so Yah caused 3,000 men of Israel to die because of one person's disobedience. till they realized, found out the accursed thing and removed it. Verse 33.
And Yahusha rose up and assembled the people and brought the Urim by the order of Yahuwah, and the tribe of Yehuda was taken, and Achan the son of Carmi was taken. And Yahusha said to Achan, "Tell me, my son, what have you done?" And Achan said, "I saw amongst the spoil a goodly garment of Shinar and 200 shekels of silver and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight. I coveted them and took them, and behold, they are all hid in the earth in the midst of the tent." And Yahusha sent men who went and took them from the tent of Achan, and they brought them to Yahusha. Where was I at?
37.
36. And Yahusha took Achan and these utensils and his sons and daughters and all belonging to him, and they brought them to the valley of Achor. And Yahusha burned them there with fire, and all Yasharel stoned Achan with stones, and they raised over him a heap of stones. Therefore did he call the place the valley of Achor. So Yahuwah's anger was appeased, and Yahusha afterward came to the city and fought against it. And Yahuwah said to Yahusha, "Fear not, neither be dismayed. Behold, I have given into your hand Ai, her king and her people, and you shall do unto them as you did to Jericho and her king. Only the spoil thereof and the cattle thereof shall you take for a prey for yourselves. Lay an ambush for the city behind it." So Yahusha did according to the word of Yahuwah, and he chose from amongst the sons of war 30,000 valiant men, and he sent them, and they lay in ambush for the city.
Okay. Go ahead.
And he commanded them, saying, "When you shall see us, we will flee before them with cunning, and they will pursue us. You shall then rise out of the ambush and take the city." And they did so. And Yahusha fought, and the men of the city went out toward Yasharel, not knowing that they were lying in ambush for them behind the city. And Yahusha and all Yasharel feigned themselves wearied out before them, and they fled by the way of the wilderness with cunning. And the men of Ai gathered all the people who were in the city to pursue Yasharel, and they went out and were drawn away from the city. Not one remained, and they left the city open and pursued Yasharel. And those who were lying in ambush rose up out of their places and hastened to come to the city and took it and set it on fire. And the men of Ai turned back, and behold, the smoke of the city ascended to the skies, and they had no means of retreating either one way or the other. And all the men of Ai were in the midst of Yasharel, some on this side and some on that side, and they smote them so that not one of them remained.
Joshua, the 2nd chapter. If I can find it here. My apocrypha is in the way. Joshua, the 2nd chapter. Wasn't that far away. Okay. So what we're doing is going back. Let's see. Okay, going back to Joshua. Going back to the same storyline, okay? Joshua the son of Nun sent out the 2 spies. Remember we read that in a few minutes ago. All right, read, please.
And Yahusha the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, "Go view the land, even Jericho." And they named Rechab and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, "Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Yasharel to search out the country." And the king of Jericho sent unto Rechab, saying, "Bring forth the men that are come to you, which are entered into your house, for they have come to search out all the country." The woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, "There came men unto me, but I knew not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whether the men went, I know not. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them." But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to the Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate.
Okay, so here you have a harlot, a prostitute that is a friend of Israel. And you're going to see the results of her befriending us. Come on, verse
7. No, 8, verse 8. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof, and she said unto the men, "I know that Yahuwah has given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how Yahuwah dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, when you came out of Mitzrayim, and what we did unto the 2 kings of the Emorine that were on the other side of the Jordan, Tacon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For Yahuwah your Elohim in heaven above and in earth below. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by Yahuwah, since I have shown you kindness, that you will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true sign, and that you will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death." And the men answered her, "Our life for yours, if you utter not this our business. And it shall be, when Yahuwah has given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with you." Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, "Get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers be returned, and afterwards may you go your way." And the men said to her, "We will be blameless of this your oath, which you have made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, you shall bind this line of scarlet thread in the window which you did let us down by, and you shall bring your father and your mother and your brethren and all your father's household home unto you. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of your house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with you in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand be upon him. And if you utter this our business, then we will be free of your oath which you have made us to swear." And she said, "According unto your words, so be it." And she sent them away, and they departed. And she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came into the mountain, and abode there 3 days, until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the 2 men returned and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Yahusha the son of Nun, and told him all things that befell them. And they said unto Yahusha, "Truly Yahuwah has delivered into our hand all the land, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us."
Okay. Now, she's on our side. We're not going to read through all this. We're just going to jump over to chapter 6. We realized that Jericho was closed in. Right, and and there's some other things that we're gonna hopefully you read through 4, 5, and 6. I mean, 3, 4, and 5. So let's jump into 6, chapter 6. Let's see the end of this story.
Now Jericho was straightly shut up because of the children of Yasharel. None went out and none came in. And Yahuwah said unto El Yahusha, see, I have given into your hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shall you do 6 days. And the 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 shofars of ram's horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow with the shofars. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the shofar, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat. People shall ascend up, every man straight before him. And Yahusha the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 shofars of ram's horns before the ark of Yahuwah. And he said unto the people, pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of Yahuwah.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a little insight. During this time frame, this is not something that just happened in a matter of a few days. Because when they first came into the land, they were on the outside of the city, and they literally kept Pesach. According to the other texts, we know that Pesach was kept outside of Israel. I mean, outside of Jericho. When they made their march around the city of Jericho, months had gone by. Months have gone from what we would call around April to around this time, because at this particular time, and I was trying to scan through it because I think it's in Jubilees, but I'll have to find it. I couldn't find it while we were talking. But this particular time was the Feast of Trumpets. The trumpet blew on the Feast of Trumpets. The 7 trumpets were literally blown the same time as we consider the Feast of Trumpets. It was a battle. It was the climax of a battle. And this battle that took place was not the other battles, were physical battles. They came and they literally had to fight their way into certain lands. This land, and they had to come in with their swords after the walls came down. But the walls came down because of the victorious, because of the strength and the courageous behavior of his people. So what am I going to say here? 1, we found an enemy inside the camp. 2, we have a friend outside the camp. So everybody that calls themselves Hebrew is not always for you. You may have people that claim themselves to be Hebrew that are you hugged and you think are your friends, and you find out they're now teaching stuff that's contradicting what is truth. And you have to discern. And then yet there's people on the outside that will do anything they can to survive, knowing that your Elohim has all power in his hands. And I am trusting in you. I'm trusting in your Elohim. And can your friends see Elohim in you? Do they see that there's something special about you? You know, I'm like a billboard. I wear stuff that about Yah all the time. And so I have people that I'm working alongside of, and they see the menorah on my forehead. They see Yah on my chest. They see that this man is anything. He's wearing fringes. I see something different in him. And for people that have nothing, for us to walk boldly before kings and queens, they have to recognize something about this man is different. And they should start recognizing Yah in us. Okay, so the trumpet is about to sound. And as the trumpet is about to sound, the people have been given special orders. I want to bring this out because I believe this to be the case today. Your enemy don't always need to know everything you're doing. If your enemy knows all of your moves, he's around the corner before you get there. You'll be like, how did he figure that out? We have to be able to move and not always broadcast everything we're doing. We don't need to be on Facebook sharing our every move. Something came to me today about us always broadcasting everything that we're doing. Maybe we need to be quiet. Before the victory comes, that does not mean you are scared. Because for 6 days, the Hebraic people walking around the temple were told to keep your mouth shut. And I know I have a problem because I always want to talk about things. And sometimes the more you talk about something, the more the enemy starts making adjustments because he's like, oh, you want to do this? We're going to shut that down. How do you like that? So maybe you should keep some of the things to yourself and not talk so much. I thought about that with the way we are communicating online every day, and we're always now we're not even trying to come together. We're like, oh, I'll just sit at home and I can check out Elder on TV, on YouTube, and I can't share everything I want to share because sometimes it's confidential. How come the enemy knows better than that? The enemy knows let's not share everything with our enemy because they may come and take advantage of us. You know, they send out spies. Okay, we send out spies too. We're supposed to be wiser than the enemy. We're supposed to know that, okay, some things we want to do, but let's huddle up. Even a football team knows better than that. They line up. You see the coach on the side of a football game. He's doing this. He's covering his mouth and he's talking through the mic, and nobody can hear what he's saying because he's not trying to share their next move, because once it's out, the enemy will now make the adjustments. Some things we need to, sometimes y'all's telling us in a nice way, shut up. Be quiet. And he told his people in this particular thing here, he says, okay, be quiet. Don't say a word. Just keep it going. Keep marching. Keep marching. Keep marching. How many times does someone have to tell us to be quiet before we learn to shut up? And then Yah will tell us when it's time to shout, when it's time to let it out. What verse are we in? Verse 7.
Yeah. Verse 7, and he said unto the people, pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of Yahuwah. And it came to pass when Yahusha had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 shofars of rams' horns passed on before Yahuwah, and blew with the shofars, and the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the shofars, and the rearward came after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the shofars. And Yahusha had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout nor make noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I bid you shout, then shall you shout. So the ark of Yahuwah compassed.
No, I'm going to stop for a second. He said, I don't want you to shout. I don't want you to, matter of fact, I don't want any noise coming out your mouth. Keep your mouth shut. Neither should any word proceed out of your mouth. I don't want you humming. I don't want you whispering. This was the miracle least mentioned, if not ever mentioned, in the book. To get the Hebrews to keep their mouth shut for 7 days. A day. An hour. I just want you to be quiet. And guess what happens in quietness? Guess what happens in quiet? Turn the TV off. Turn the radio off. Don't talk to anybody. Keep quiet. Can somebody tell me what happens when you're in quietness?
You can think. Yeah.
Say that again.
You can think and you have peace.
You can think and you have peace. Most of us, thank you, Tara. Most of us have a problem. We can't hear Yah. Most of us can't hear him. And the reason why we can't hear him is all the static, all the other things that is running through your brain, all the thoughts, your brain is just being bombarded, and you can't hear. Yah says, "When you hear my voice, harden not your heart," but you can't hear his voice because of the static. I have a radio that I use when I walk sometimes, and it doesn't have a radio dial like most radios. You press the button and it lands on a station, and then it may land on the next station, but it's not right on the station. You got to hit it again, then it goes to the station. But if you hit close to it, you can hear the conversation, but you also hear a lot of static. And listening is like, oh man, you're turning the radio around and you're trying to get so you can hear the sound. But if you click again, you can hear it clear. Most of the time, we don't turn it off and do that second click. So when we're trying to hear Yah, we can't hear him for all of the distractions, all of the noise. You know what people are doing nowadays? People are trying to get out of the city. And do you know what they're looking for when they get out of the city? They like, I want to go off the grid. I want to have a solar panels so that I get my electricity coming in and I'm not paying for it. I want to dig a well so that I have water coming in when I need it. I want space so I don't see neighbors around me. And it's the next thing almost everybody's listening for or looking for. Throw it away, right? Noise or the lack of it. What do they call it when you hear when you have a lot of noise? What's noise? What did they call it when the noise is too much noise around?
Noise pollution.
Noise pollution. Thank you. It's noise pollution. It's worse. It's worse than air pollution at times. Because bad air, you can filter it out. Noise pollution is all you're hearing is noise. And you would go into the wilderness. That's what we usually do on Sukkot. We go to, and here's last year I went away for Sukkot. And the problem that I had was where I went was it wasn't so far away that I literally could get up and hear noise. There was construction site not too far away. They were building a road or something. And so, yes, you had the scenery of wilderness. You had the tent. You had the fire pit, but you had noise pollution. Noise pollution stops you from hearing Yah. Most people go away up in the Poconos someplace where they can get away. And they're not just going away to say I'm up in the mountains. They're trying to get away from the noise pollution. If you live in the city, you don't know what that feels like. You have a hard understanding to this because you're living with noise pollution around you all the time. But to get away and then turn off all of the electronics and you start hearing something. You start getting a sense of peace and a sense of clarity in your mind. Because you start thinking and Yah starts speaking to you. You realize that in prison, some people become more educated in prison than they would have outside of prison because there's actually a time where they're set apart and they can't hear anything but what's in those four walls. They get a book and they start reading and they start learning and they start maturing and growing. You don't need to go to prison, but you do need to find time to be with Yah. Good people that are spirit-filled, they'll tell you, I've learned in the morning is my quiet time. In the evening, they find times, they get away from everything to find that sense of peace, a sense of quietness. If you're with elder and you come and we're going to teach that day, you're going to find it sometime during that day, elder done went away, he's laying down, he's taking a nap, what is he doing? He's trying to find quiet time. I'll go lay in my bed in my bedroom during the day. I'll do something. I'll take my dog for a walk. I'll do something to give myself time to contemplate, time to think, time to hear Yah. So I have to ask you the question: do you take time to listen? Hear, O Israel, Shema, listen and do. Are you taking time to? I just want to hear from you, Yah. Some of the places that I used to worship when I was in Christianity, some of the times I would go into the sanctuary, and I love to hear the music. and the music go on, and you get into a sense of worship in the music. But there's also times that I've gone into the sanctuary when it was quiet, and sometimes just sat there because I need that quietness. And most sanctuaries were closed off so that you could not hear on the outside, and you could just sit there and meditate. Okay? You need quiet time to hear from Yah. Where we at?
It's 10. We stopped at 10.
Yeah, I'm down there. I'm like, it's not there yet.
And Yahusha had commanded the people, saying, "Ye shall not shout nor make noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I bid you to shout. Then you shall shout."
Chapter
6.
Oh, thank you.
So the ark of the covenant compassed the city, going about it once, and they came into the camp and lodged in the camp. And Yahusha rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of Yahuwah. And 7 priests bearing 7 shofars of ram's horns before the ark of Yahuwah went on continually and blew with the shofars, and the armed men went before them. But the rearward came after the ark of Yahuwah, the priests going on and blowing with the shofars. And the second day they compassed the city once and returned into the camp. So they did 6 days. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the shofars, Yahusha said unto the people, "Shout, for Yahuwah has given you the city. And the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein,
Go ahead, finish that sentence.
to Yahuwah. Only Rechab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent."
Is it weird that Yah says, get up and march around the city one time? It's like, yeah, we got all day long. You're gonna let us? You want us to literally just march around the city one time, and that's our assignment for today. You mean so it took all day to get around there? One time. It couldn't have taken all day, because on the 7th day they went around 7 times. So you mean our assignment doesn't make sense to me. You want me to walk around here one time and then go home? See, we try to rationalize Yah. When Yah says, I want you to just be obedient. But that's not enough. No, I just want you to do this. Just be obedient. I want you to just, on the first day, just walk around one time. Can you do the simple thing? Can you just do the simple thing? Not walk, dig a hole, bury something, and run around and wear nothing. All I want you to do is listen to me. Do the one lap, and then I want you to rest. Okay, I did that the first day. That's good. Second day, in the morning now, as soon as the sun comes up, you're packing up. You guys are getting up, and you're going to parade around there again. So you got the rest of the day. This has got to be the difficult act in all creation, next to making stuff. You have your whole tribe of people who did not do anything for the entire day. I mean, they couldn't talk for the only assignment they had. Someone came down here yesterday. He's like, what do we have to do for Yom Teruah? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Or am I supposed to do something? It's like, just rest. I had 2 people text me, and I said, Elder's taking the time off. Just rest. That is the most difficult. You mean just sit still? And now it's coming to me. Yah says on the Feast of Trumpets, there's no other assignment. Blow the shofar. Look, I have the feast laid out here, right? Let me read this real quick. On sundown, October the 7th, this feast day, and I'm using the October, the Gregorian calendar. This feast day is the Shabbat. You shall celebrate with a gathering and blow the shofar in preparation for the coming Hamashiach. That was our assignment. And not to discredit anybody for wanting to do more, but our assignment was just like their assignment. Just chill. I just want you to, in other words, we're mimicking the Israelites. Exactly what they were requested to do is what we were requested to do. But he's given us we're still allowed to talk. We're still allowed to enjoy each other's company. But there's not is a very minimum in this assignment. It's just like their assignment was, just don't say anything. Just do that one. Get up in the morning, do your little lap. The people will be looking at you and wondering what's wrong with you. Why are you not shouting? Why are you not talking? They're scared now, even more so, because they're like, okay, what are they doing out here? You don't think they spying on us just like we were spying on them? They're like, I can imagine what the enemy's camp was saying. What are they doing out there, sir? I went out there and I was checking them out. They're not talking. They're just chilling. They too, they were like, send somebody out there and check them out again. Come back. So what are they doing now? I saw them march around the camp again, the encampment. What are they doing? Nothing. You mean are they loading up their swords and sharpening their swords, or what are they doing? Couldn't get any information from them because they're not even talking. We set a microphone in and thought we would hear some chatter, and we're not getting anything. All they're doing is just sitting. What kind of foolishness is that? Day 3. Now I know they're doing something. They can't hold their mouth back. I heard them get up and they walked. I looked out the peephole and I saw them walking around again. Somebody tell me what they're doing. Sorry to tell you this, sir. They're not doing anything. What kind of war is this? I'm scared now. Day 3, day 4. Send out some more spies. Check them out. What are they doing? You're really going to think I'm stupid, but I went out and we sent them out. And we got no information. They're not doing anything. 5 days and they haven't, you got to give me some kind of information. Day 6, it's almost a whole week. And I saw them again. I heard the clutter of the footsteps. I watched the soldiers marching and I saw the priest in the front. I'm like, they got to be doing, what kind of strategy is this? Your strategy should be that. They should be scratching their head. Got to figure this out. They're not doing anything. They're not. Somebody says something to somebody, and no one is not. He told them not to even say a word, so they're not even talking. Their mum's the word. Day 7 must have freaked them out. We got a pattern now. Every day they're going out walking once around. After they got done the first tour, or once they circled it the first time, they kept going for again a second time. They're like coming back to the captain in charge. Sir, we have a problem. What are they doing? This time when they stopped, they didn't stop. They kept on walking. I could imagine them all around the encampment looking, and they're like, okay, they did it twice, sir. No, they're going again. What's going on? 3 times. They're usually done by now. I'm sure they were fidgeting, trying to figure out, scratching and trying to, come on, there's got to be something. Somebody tell me what they're doing. Captain, 4 times. They're tired. They got to be tired. They're delirious. There's got to be something here. What's happening? And the man runs back and he says, Captain, they're going again. 5. Oh my goodness. 6. At this point, I can't even imagine what's in their mind. They've traveled, they've only done this one time every day for 5 days, 6 days. And now they're going around the 6th time. And the 7th time, what do you think the soldiers would have been doing? Do you think they were hiding? Or do you think maybe they were on the walls waiting for them to do something different? Of course, they got their attention. So all of the, painting the picture for you, all around the city, the walls must have been loaded with their reinforcements, with their soldiers, just in case they changed up. And when they changed up, they were setting the enemy up for failure. Because by now, with no one saying anything, and everyone's want to protect the city, they had to have all their reinforcements all the way around, just in case. And when the walls came down, you see the picture. All right, where are we at? And it came to pass on the 7th day, verse 15.
Okay. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass on the 7th time when the priest blew the shofars, Yahusha said unto the people, shout, for Yahuwah has given you the city, and the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein to Yahuwah. Only Rechab the harlot shall live, she and the household, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye in any wise guard yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed, when you take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Yasharel accursed, and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto Yahuwah. They shall come into the treasury of Yahuwah. So the people shouted when the priest blew with the shofars, and it came to pass when the people heard the sound of the shofar, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and ass with the edge of the sword. But Yahusha had said unto the two men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she has, as you swore unto her. And the young men that were spies went in, and brought out Rechab, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all that she had. And they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Yasharel.
They were on the outside of the camp, but they were safe. Joshua, we keep our words. So when we read 2 days ago, we were in Revelations, and it said measure the walls, and then it said on the outside was for the Gentiles, for the other nations, right? So the other nations, the ones that befriended us, the ones that, that when even during slavery here in the United States, we had certain people that still befriended us. That we had what they called the Underground Railroad, and there was a whole bunch of non-Hebraic people that were on our side and said, we're going to help you to get out of your predicament and into a better situation. And so we don't discredit the heathen when the heathen help us. And if the heathen help us, sometimes Yah says that I'll save you and your household. Sometimes Yah said that to the heathen. How? So he don't just save her. He saved her whole household. Don't discredit Yah. Yah can deliver us from anything, and he can deliver the heathen. So when we look at what's going on here, you don't try to tell me, well, she's not really a Canaanite. She was a Hebrew, and because we try to justify our stupidity, and we try to say, oh, Yah's only going to save the Hebrews, and that's not true according to the scripture. That he will deliver the ones that are on our side. Be careful who you listen to. Come on, please.
Verse 24. And they burnt the city with fire and all that was therein. Only the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and of iron they put into the treasury of the house of Yahuwah. And Yahusha saved Rechab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had. And she dwelt in Yasharel even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Yahusha sent to spy out Jericho. And Yahusha adjured them at the time, saying, Cursed be the man before Yahuwah that rises up and builds the city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in his second son shall he set up the gates of it. So Yahuwah was with Yahusha, and his name and his fame was noised throughout all the country.
Throughout all the country. Everybody, everywhere close by knew what was going on. They were all fearful of Elohim and his people. I'm going to take us one little place because we have a few minutes. Next, this week we dealt with an enemy that was within the camp. We dealt with a friend that was on the outside the camp. Yah willing, I'm going to talk to you about the enemy on the outside of the camp. Because there was somebody who, while we were making our way through the wilderness, there's two issues that I want to bring up. We were making our way through the wilderness, and there was a people that said, no, I ain't letting you through. And those people will become a cursed people because they denied access for y'all's people. And I'll talk about that next week. That's a big one right there. And the other thing is that we got so far removed from following Yah, even while we were in the encampment, that the whole generation of people forgot to be circumcised. And we'll talk about the second circumcision. But today, I want to just go through 17, 18 verses. And I don't think I want to go through much more than that. I just want to read through this really quick. And it's a special love letter to us, Hebrews. Avarim. When you see Avrid, that's one that's pretty much, and I said I should change that to put the M on the end. That's an individual person. When you put the M on the end, that's plural, making it plural. So it's a group of people or the nation. Okay. All right. Chapter 2.
Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. For if the word spoken by angels was steadfast, and every transgression and disobedience received a recompense of reward, how shall we escape if we neglect so great a salvation, which at the first began to be spoken by Yahuwah, and was confirmed unto us by them that heard him?
Okay, so if the word spoken, even by angels, was steadfast, and every transgression and disobedience deserved a just recompense of rewards, meaning everything that is done illegally, everything that's done that's breaking the Torah must be paid for. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. You don't get away with doing something. And one of the things that was happening in Israel was their downright disobedience. And everybody, because of their disobedience, you had to pay for your disobedience. In this particular case that we just looked at, where somebody hid something in their tent, they had to die. And then there's some things that you do against Yah that there were sacrifices made, animal sacrifices because of the disobedience. Okay, so everything that was done required some type of payment. Verse 3.
How shall we escape if we neglect so great a salvation, which at the first began to be spoken by Yahuwah, and was confirmed unto us by them that heard him? Elohim also bearing them witness, both with signs and wonders, and with diverse miracles and gifts of the Ruach HaKodesh, according to his own will. For unto the angels has he not put in subjection the word to come whereof we speak? But one in a certain place testified, saying, What is man that you are mindful of him, or the son of Adam that you visit him? You made him a little lower than Elohim. You crowned him with glory and honor, and did set him over the works of your hands. You have put all things in subjection under his feet. For in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we see not yet all things put under him, but we see Yeshua, who was made a little lower than Elohim for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he by the grace of Elohim should taste death for every man.
Okay, so he tastes death for all of us. All right, so this is the payment. This is why I had to go here real quick, because I'm reading through the book of Numbers. And as I'm reading through it, I'm like, oh, I got it today. I'm like, we could not possibly offer all the sacrifices for all the people that are on this planet if we all turn to Yah and said, we're sinners and we offer all the sacrifices that are required according to the text for the sins that we've rendered. We'll run out of animals. We can't possibly, we would be killing 1,000 this and 10,000 this and 10,000, and we run out of animals. But Yah says he has made provision with his son, his only begotten son. He crowned him with grace, glory, and honor, that he should taste death for every man. Verse 10.
For it became him for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their Yeshua perfect through sufferings. For both he that sanctifies and they who are sanctified are all of one, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren, saying, I will declare your name unto my brethren. In the midst of the called out assembly will I sing praise unto you. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children which Elohim has given me. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all the lifetime subject to bondage. For indeed he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be merciful and faithful high priest, might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to Elohim, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself suffered being tempted, he is able to help them that are tempted.
In all things he was tempted, and not likewise, just like us, but he failed not in any of his temptations. Now Yah could have sent an angel or someone with angelic presence with him, and it's not come in through a people, but just popped up out of nowhere. But he used our people to present himself as through Yeshua. So he made him like us so that he could feel the same things that we go through. So whatever temptation that you're going through, you can say, well, our king went through that. We're going to read through chapter 3 too, because I keep telling you to listen, and I don't think most of us can hear Yah. Come on. Wherefore,
holy brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, who was faithful to him that appointed him, as also Moshe was faithful in all his house. For this man was counted worthy of more glory than Moshe, inasmuch as he who has built the house has more honor than the house.
Okay, so we have a problem here. Most of us accept the writings and accept the teachings of Moshe. But there's a few of us that think Moshe's writing surpasses Yeshua. And I don't go there. Yeshua is our master. Yeshua is our king. Yeshua is our deliverer. Yeshua is our savior. Out of all that have come and gone, he is the one, and he can present things to us that has never been presented before, because he was the author and the finisher of our faith. And I can't take this halfway in, halfway out thing. I believe in Yeshua and I follow Yeshua, and I'm going to start preaching more Yeshua because I feel like a lot of us have turned their back on Yeshua, the Hamashiach. Where are we?
Verse 4. For every house is built by some man, but he that built all things is Elohim. And Moshe truly was faithful in all his house as a servant, for a testimony of those things which are spoken were to be spoken after. But Mashiach is as a son over his own house, whose house if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope firm unto the end. Wherefore, as the Ruach HaKodesh says, today if we hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years.
So here's the deal. If you can hear Yah, are you listening to him? Are you really listening to him? Or are you hearing him and then you, for whatever reason, someone says something different, someone does something different, some static enters into your cranium, and before you know it, you have learned to harden your heart. And you all say that you're hardening your heart. Are you hardening your heart to Yah? Today, if you hear his voice, harden not your heart. But there is a problem. If your actions aren't matching your words, if you're saying one thing and doing another, that's a hard heart. A few more verses.
Verse 10. Wherefore I was grieved with that generation and said, they do always err in their heart, and they have not known my ways. So I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest.
So are you entering into Shalom? Shiloh. Are you entering into Shalom? This is all about the last battle. And when the battle is over and we lay down our swords, will we enter in? Are we entering into the rest that Yah has prepared for us? Because Yah says, I have sworn in my wrath, you're not getting in. That's scary. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of an angry Yah. Take heed, my brethren, lest there be any of you with an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living Yah. Read, please.
But exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. For we are partakers of Mashiach, if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end.
That's salvation. If you hold on your confidence, your courageous behavior until the end. Salvation is not something I would say today. Save now, or how they put it? Always saved. I can't come up with it now. No, you're saved if you hold on until the end. Continue, please. 15.
While it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. For some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit not all that came out of Mitzrayim by Moshe. But with whom was he grieved for 40 years? Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness? And to whom swore he that they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believed not? So we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief.
Are you a believer? Do you really believe you are going to enter into his rest. I start the day off with shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. I'm giving you 4 words. I'm going shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. So in that little introduction, I'm throwing shalom, shalom, shalom out there because I'm walking in shalom, and I'm hoping that you're walking in shalom. And I hope by the grace of Yah that your final call, the final trump that shouts your name, that you walk into shalom, into his final rest. Don't be deceived. Don't let anything or anybody persuade you in any way, neither to the left nor to the right. Follow Yah. Follow Yeshua. Yeshua said, follow me. He says telling his disciples. He says, follow me, follow me, follow me. We don't follow Paul. We don't follow John. We don't follow Mark. We don't follow anybody outside of Yeshua. Hallelujah. I'm done. The other person that I wanted to talk to is going to take me beyond my call, my time today. My allotted time is short, but let y'all be. Let him control you. Let him tell you when to speak up, and let him tell you when to shut up. Listen. Shalom. Shema. Hebrew word meaning to listen and to do. Let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart be found acceptable in your sight, O Yah. Hallelujah. You know how to support us. You know how to contact us. By the grace of Yah, we'll be back next week. Yah willing, keep the faith. I got another one too. And keep being faithful. Be strong and of good courage. Shalom.